This is the OSU Roundup, and February is a busy month. A lot going on, my friend.
You know, it's great, obviously, Dave, when you look at baseball going and getting their series opener, getting that win, getting their season started, softball in their second weekend, equestrian has started back this weekend, obviously men's and women's basketball, wrestling. I mean, if you're a sports fan, this is a great time of year around the campus.
Well, there's some great storylines, and one you'll hear today is that of Yorane, Oklahoma State's freshman center on the Cowboy basketball team. He has a great story. You'll certainly want to watch that. And, of course, the Cowboy wrestling team stays undefeated, setting up a huge match against the Iowa Hawkeyes.
You know, and it has been a great year. I think John is seeking his 7th undefeated regular season, which is truly amazing when you think about it. So a lot going on there, and obviously they're very excited about getting that last one in Iowa in here.
We'll also hear from Cowboy head coach Mike Boynton and Cowgirl head coach Jim Littell. Stay with us. The OSU Roundup is coming your way. The OSU Roundup is brought to you by Bud Light, game day's favorite light lager. By the visitstillwaterok.org, Shop, Dine, and Stay partners. Be sure to shop, dine, and stay in America's friendliest college town. By Mercy Health, your life is our life's work. And by OG&E, power at the speed of life.
Living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/cowboysortho.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have two different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Hi, I'm Coach Gundy with Oklahoma State University. With approximately 900 Oklahomans waiting for a life-saving transplant, I encourage everyone across the state to make the important decision to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor. So check your driver's license for the Little Red Heart. If it's not there, visit lifeshareok.org and join the registry today. I have the Little Red Heart. Do you?
A 68-61 win over TCU tonight. You said that going into this home game, it was really important for you guys to go out with a win tonight.
Yeah, the last two home games, they played harder than us, so we made it perfectly clear to our team that we had to make sure that we were the hardest playing team out there, and we played as hard as we could, and we got the W.
You playing as hard as you can and setting a new career high again after setting one last game, 23 points, 6 of 11 from 3. What was clicking so well for you out there?
My teammates are finding me when I'm open, and my job is to knock it down when I'm open. That's really that's how it is. Coach calls up plays, my teammates find me, and my job's to execute it when I'm open. So shout out to my teammates and the coaching staff for drawing up good plays.
As a captain, who have you seen develop, especially within this game?
Yor. I heard that he had 5 blocks, but I mean he's a rim protector. He's the epitome of a sponge too. Anytime we get to practice, he takes criticism well and he takes praise well. So I mean, he's come in leap and bounds from the beginning of the season till now, but he's the epitome of a rim protector.
And having a big man like that, and you guys, all the captains being juniors going into next season, how exciting is that for you guys as a team?
Oh, it's very exciting. It should make our fans excited too. I know any guard and any big don't want to go up against him, and he bails me out on a lot of plays when I let my guy drive by me, so I'm thankful for him.
How do you guys take this momentum moving forward?
We just got to learn from it as well. I mean, we made some defensive mistakes down the stretch that we need to learn from, but it's really hard to win in this league, and we're going to Kansas State next on the road, and that's even harder. So we just got to learn from this and use it as building blocks for our next game.
All right, congrats on the win. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.
We continue on the OSU Roundup and joined now by Cowboy head coach Mike Boynton after a 68-61 victory over TCU in Gallagher-Iba Arena. What did you like most about the win?
I like most that we played with a lot of aggression.
We played really, really hard. We shared the basketball, but most importantly, we played in attack mode. It was a thought coming in that we got to play on our toes. We can't play on our heels. We can't let the other team dictate the tempo and the shots we get on the offensive end. And we also can't just completely sit back, although don't have a deep bench and let teams just run offense. But we were really aggressive on both ends of the floor.
Well, speaking of attack, the first 18 points you scored in a game were on 6 3-pointers. Have you ever been part of anything like that?
I don't know if it's that extreme. I don't know if 6 was the number, but I've been with teams that have gotten off to hot starts. We got off to a pretty good start in our Bedlam game at home. I don't think it was that extreme where all of them were from 3, but we shot the ball well early. But that's what this team is capable of doing. It's really getting hot, especially when you got Dizzy feeling as confident as he always is. And then Lindy and Kurt Jones joining the fray was something that was really, really helpful to our team.
Was there something in the matchup that lended itself to being able to kind of go crazy from 3 or no?
Well, they're not a team that tries to take you out defensively, so there's more opportunities for breakdowns in their defense. They have smaller guards, so there's opportunities to screen them, and when they switch, you can really get a chance to shoot over the top, and Thomas took advantage of that opportunity on a couple of those ball screen actions. And then Lindy found himself shooting over smaller guards with Robinson and sometimes with Davis guarding him as well.
You mentioned Azagwa. For the second straight game, he had 23 points. He made 7 threes at Texas, 6 threes in the game against TCU. Obviously, he's been productive all year long, but it's gone to a different level the last 2 games. Anything any different or no?
I mean, I think he's just taking advantage of what the defense has given him and really looking to be aggressive. And really, a lot of it has to do with his shot preparation because when he's ready and the ball's coming to him, he can get it off pretty quick. Got a quick release, and so as long as he gets his feet set and gets a good pass on target, which we talk about a lot, got a chance to get a lot of shots off, and when he gets a lot off, tends to make quite a few of them.
You were up by 9 at half. You pushed the lead up to 14, but it seemed like every time TCU made a run, you were able to get key stops, you were able to get key baskets. They had it down to 2 twice in the second half, but in contrast to the game in Fort Worth, you made what you would describe as the winning plays.
Yeah, and Cam McGriff, who was 0 for 7 from the field, I believe, was plus 11 for the game and our leading plus-minus guy. And he was a big part of those winning plays when you talk about the dive on the loose ball and the save to get us on a break one time after he missed one of his shots, chasing down the offensive rebound and making sure that we saved the possession and get another chance to score. He made several plays for us, and so even though he didn't score, he was a big factor in the game and gave us a chance to really put the game away at the end.
And that helped you keep the lead at 4 as opposed to take the lead rather to 4 instead of being in a situation where you're trying to hold the lead. Down the stretch, another big play, Isaac Likely on a tip-in. Lindy Waters misses. Ice right there for the tip.
Yeah, we ran a little play where we had Lindy really try to drive it to his right hand and get the ball around. We wanted to make sure he got it because we knew help would come over and would give us a chance to have the defense not be able to block out on the backside. I thought Ice would maybe try to grab it and bring it out to save the possession and use some more clock. But we did talk for 2 days about making winning plays, and he made a play that gave us a chance to put the game away.
So the Cowboys win it over TCU, and again, a quality win. And a needed win, obviously, because it's been tough in conference play. You've been in just about every game, haven't been able to close. This one was nice.
It was huge, a huge boost to our kids' confidence in terms of validating. You can work really hard, and when you don't see the fruits of your labor come your way, you really start to doubt whether you should be working that hard, be as committed as you are. But these kids have been really resilient. They've stuck with us. Our staff has done a good job of keeping them motivated, and they really showed what their character was by coming out and playing with the type of aggression we needed to win a game against a quality opponent, one who'll be in consideration for NCAA tournament consideration this year as well.
Stick around. A chance to get to know Cowboy freshman center Yorane when we come back. We continue on the OSU Roundup. Yorane is an amazing story. You're about to find out why. Here's Allison Gappa.
Cowboy basketball's 6'10 freshman Yorane currently ranks 10th in school history for blocks in a single season with 57. And in the last 10 games, he's averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds, and over 2 blocks per game. His journey to Oklahoma State started long ago. His family is from South Sudan. Yor was born in California, raised in Kansas, and had to deal with a unique circumstance at a very young age.
When I was around 3 years old, I had put my index finger and my middle finger in a blender, and then now I'm missing two on my fingers on my right hand.
But at 3 years old, you grow up, and like I mentioned, you're a natural athlete. You naturally use your left hand on everything. What was it like?
It's pretty crazy how it goes. When I was younger, I did get made fun of a little bit, but I also had a lot of people who respected it and thought it was really cool that I was still playing sports, how I played football with it. And then when I started playing basketball, a lot of people wouldn't even notice until after the game, when you do the handshakes, and then the other team wouldn't notice. Most people nowadays too won't even notice until I shake their hand.
When you play basketball, it is so seamless. You don't even notice. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, well that just comes from I've played basketball for 5-6 years now, so it's just normal to me. And I try not to show that it bothers me, because
it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's it's something that. But I think another amazing part of it is it's not like you started playing basketball when you're 5 years old. You started playing when you were in 7th grade.
It was really, really hard when I first started. I could only do things with my left hand when I first started, but then I started working on both hands so I could be more versatile, and now I feel like I can do things with either hand.
After his older brother convinced him to play basketball, Yor quickly excelled. Now playing college basketball at Oklahoma State, he ranks 3rd in the Big 12 in blocks with over 2 per game. Last game he had 5 against TCU. That's 10 games now with at least 3 blocks for the 19-year-old freshman.
It feels kind of nice. I thought I would struggle to do some of the things at the next level, which I did, but once I started getting more comfortable, things got easier, blocking shots, timing, scoring. I think scoring is the thing I struggle the most with, but with more reps and more practice, even after practice, I'll shoot after practice, I'll work on moves, and by doing that, I've seen my offensive game rise too.
What has that been like?
It's been pretty cool and fun to see I'm scoring more points now, because I feel like everybody likes scoring, and it's really because how our coaching staff has pushed me. In practice, they always tell me I need to be a little bit more selfish on the offensive end and try to score more to help the team. It's been kind of crazy because I've already seen growth in the weight room, growth on the court, and it kind of scares me because the sky's the limit is what I believe. So.
Why does that scare you?
Because I don't know how good I could be, but I just got to keep working.
I think you could be really good. Do you?
I think so, if I keep on working.
You want to play in the league?
I think that's every kid's dream.
Yeah.
Yor's perseverance, hard work, and optimism has not only allowed him to succeed, but his humility, in spite of achieving greatness in the face of adversity, has helped him realize that the sky truly is the limit.
Making jokes, having fun, optimistic. Shoot, I just try to brighten other people's day. Try to make other people happy.
Back with Cowboy head coach Mike Boynton. Just had a chance to watch the piece with Yor, and what a great story on a number of different levels.
And Yor is a truly unique person. He's a kid who comes from a very, very humble background. He's got a really, really big family. They love on each other, but growing up in Kansas City, he was exposed to basketball. His older brother played and really kind of beat up on him. But he's become a really key cog in our system. Having to play him a lot of minutes here over the last month, you've really started to see his development. But the credit goes back to his work in high school and understanding what it takes to even get to this level, from having to put the work in the classroom to having to put the work in on the court. It wasn't overly recruited at a high level. but we're certainly sure glad that he chose to come here and play for us and put on the Cowboy uniform. And we're really excited about what the future looks like with him being a part of our program. He's got an energetic and engaging personality. He's a great kid to be around. And we just really appreciate all he brings to the table and all that he's helped us to achieve this year so far.
Yor is missing these two fingers in his right hand. He is a left-handed player, but he is missing the two fingers from a childhood accident. Was there any concern about taking him given his handicap?
Well, when you first understand what it is, you're kind of shocked, because if you just watch him play and you haven't heard the story or don't know, it's hard to really tell, because he doesn't show any signs that he's got a problem. He certainly, I don't think he has a problem. Obviously, he has a unusual circumstance in that regard, but he doesn't complain about it. He doesn't make a big deal of it. He just is adapted. It really shows you that you can really overcome quite a bit when you don't focus on what you don't have. You focus on what you do have, and you try to take advantage of the opportunities you have. The kid's been a tremendous hard worker and has never once complained about it. But it's kind of throws you off when you first hear it, and you kind of start to think about how it should affect him, and it really doesn't.
And the thing is, what a great example for other children that may be dealing with a disability to show that, hey, the limitations to a degree are what you decide they are.
No question about it. And he's a classic example of we don't have to limit ourselves, no matter what the circumstances are that we're going through. For a kid like that to come in here and believe that he can compete at this level and not ever talk about it. And if no one ever asked him, he would never mention it. And so it's really remarkable that, he's come so far and worked so hard that he really just wants to play basketball. He really doesn't even want to make a big deal of it because he's dealt with it all his life. And it's something that he's adapted to, and he's really found a way to have success.
Stick around, more to come. We'll talk cowgirl basketball, cowboy wrestling, all that and more coming up on the OSU Roundup.
Welcome back to the OSU Roundup, and this season marks the 20th year for the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowgirl equestrian team. Coach Larry Sanchez has done a great job. In fact, this team is coming off a great win over the number 2 team in the country at the Bob Todachek Arena from this past weekend. Allison Gappa had a chance to catch up with Coach and talk about his 20th season.
Larry Sanchez is in his 20th year as the head coach of Oklahoma State Equestrian, boasting 6 National Collegiate Equestrian Association national championships, 6 Big 12 titles, and 39 All-Americans. He started the program in 1988, hailing from New Mexico State, where he had just won a national championship.
Immediate interest was to at least come and find out what the NCAA was all about, and what it was through that conversation that I learned that everything that I wanted to do with my team at New Mexico State and didn't have the resources or the time or the facilities to do it, I was going to have those opportunities here.
Coach Sanchez accepted the position at Oklahoma State even though he would have to build the program from ground up, because his equestrian team would be recognized as a sport within the athletic program.
And so I showed up for work and got to go to coaches meetings and sit, in there with Eddie Sutton and John Smith and coaches like that. And I remember just beaming of, oh my gosh, they think the way I do as far as prepping students for competition. And so I felt like I was in my element from that first week.
And Coach Sanchez quickly found success at Oklahoma State. He led a 2-year-old program to a national championship in 2000.
And then the program just took off. When you have success like that right away, it seems like recruiting gets a little easier. I think the student athletes picked up on that, and they fed off of that energy that I had of, we're just going to do the best with whatever we have and try and compete for that national championship from the very beginning. And I think that's what helped carry this program along all these years.
I think that his legacy will just be that he's put a lot of his personal time into it. It's not, he doesn't just come to work. I don't think he ever really leaves work.
5 national championships, and 20 years later, Larry Sanchez is still building one of the country's most successful equestrian programs. And his legacy continues to leave a lasting impact.
His legacy is the team, and not like the new facilities he's bringing in and the horses he's able to keep around forever. You learn how to become a good teammate and you kind of become something greater than yourself. And so I think that's kind of his legacy is having a team that you grow as a person and a rider.
Welcome back to the OSU Roundup. Casey Kendrick joined now by Coach Jim Littell, head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowgirl women's basketball team. And Coach, we knew it was going to be a tough week. 2 top 25 teams, 2 highly ranked top 25 teams, and in bracketology, 2 highly seeded teams. And we knew it was going to be tough, but boy, what a game you guys started with Texas coming into Gallagher Iba last week.
No, I was proud of our group. I thought we played really, really hard. Thought we had a good game plan and competed on the defensive end for sure. And it was one of those nights that I thought we got good shots, but just didn't make shots. And sometimes that gives the perception that you didn't play well when you don't shoot well. But I thought we played really well.
You know, so interesting, Coach. There has been an emphasis for this team to start quicker. And that seemed to be our problem. And in the last couple of games, you have started quicker, but that's the inconsistency of starting 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores again and a senior, is learning to play the full 40 minutes. It's not either the beginning or the end. It's not just the first 5 and the first 5 of the second half. It's all of it, but we've kind of overcome some of the starting slow woes.
We have, and we've talked about that and talked about shot selection and how important it is to get a good shot in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game and how you approach things. So we have got off to better starts.
Very good balance in this Texas game offensively. I know you would have loved to have more points from everyone, but Braxton Miller had 14, Vivian had 14, and Jamie Asbury had 13.
No, it was good. We're always looking to have 4 people in double figures, and we got 3 in this game. And again, I thought we played really well, and we had some shots that we normally knock down that just didn't go.
Well, and Cassidy, the lap coach, she came out and really looked good early. Had 3 straight shots, got 6 points in this game, but then found herself in foul trouble. And again, that's the part that this young lady is still trying to figure out, understanding how a game was going to be called and playing within how the confines of how it's being called.
Well, this is a year that she's playing against a lot of juniors and seniors, and that makes a difference. And it's her first go around and playing a lot of these players and their tendencies and what to expect. So it's not really unusual that she gets in foul trouble.
You look at the turnover count, Coach. Texas had 17, you had 11. And, you know, with a young team, one of the things that usually seems we're saying is that you guys are you're having a hard time valuing the basketball, taking care of the basketball. But really, that's not been a problem. You guys have done a good job in that category.
We have, and there's been 4 or 5 games where we've had single-digit numbers and in turnovers. And when you do that, it always gives you a chance to win the game.
The one thing about Texas, Coach, you know this, everyone knows this, you certainly know this. When you prepare for them, what you have to prepare for is length, not usually just at the guard position, although they have that with several of their players. But when you start looking at the kids that they can bring in, from the Collier kid to the Jakari White to, of course, Joyner Holmes, who starts for them, they never seem to run out of length and athleticism off the bench.
No, they're 4 deep at the post position, and they're all highly touted high school kids, and very, very talented and strong athletic bodies that can run the floor. So they don't lose much when they go to their bench at the post position.
And quite honestly, that's where they won the ball game, probably with their rebounding, their second chance points, able to get back a lot of missed shots. You guys, you talked about defending well. You defended extremely well on the first shot. It was that second opportunity they got, sometimes right at the rim.
No, it's always been a tendency of Texas to rely on second chance points, and it's no different this year. It's a team that's very aggressive. Coach Aston's teams really hit the offensive boards hard, and that's always a problem when you face Texas.
Obviously, Texas is a very good team. They end up getting the victory over the Cowgirls by a final of 61-55. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Iowa State. How did that go for the Cowgirls as they visit Hilton Coliseum? That and more coming up after a quick timeout.
Hi, I'm Coach Gundy with Oklahoma State University. With approximately 900 Oklahomans waiting for a life-saving transplant, I encourage everyone across the state to make the important decision to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor. So check your driver's license for the Little Red Heart. If it's not there, visit lifeshareok.org and join the registry today. I have the Little Red Heart. Do you?
Well, the Oklahoma State Cowgirls went to Hilton Coliseum, and Coach, we talk about Hilton all the time. You know, of the Big 12 venues that we play in now, that one probably is the most electrifying.
Well, it is. They lead the Big 12 in attendance and are very high in the national rankings as far as attendance, and their fans are very solid and understanding the game and rabid, and they enjoy their basketball.
They do, and you know, we talked about quick starts and turnarounds. First time around, you guys did not have a great start against Iowa State inside Gallagher-Iba. Much different story this time around.
25-24, everybody was scoring. We were shooting the ball well, they were shooting the ball well. I'm sure fans enjoyed that. I was a little concerned as many points as we'd given up after the first quarter, but we shot 58% from the floor in the first quarter and got good shots and knocked them down.
Well, you know what's interesting, Coach, is that becomes the question. That is obviously a fantastic start for you guys. The question is, can you maintain it? Because we know they can, and not because you can't stop them. It's because that's what they've done to every single team they've played. Inside Hilton Coliseum, with the exception of Texas, they've won them all, and they've hit the century mark several times.
Very good team, very well coached, scoring a lot of different ways. But, you know, I've said all along, they may be the best team in the country for shooting the three ball. They can do it at 5 different positions, which makes it very difficult for our post to match up. We tried to go a little smaller lineup, and their counter was taking Bridget Carlton inside, and she's a really tough player.
Well, and you know, that's the other thing, Coach, is you decided to go small, which was obviously a fantastic strategy given what they were able to do inside Gallagher, and it worked in that first quarter. But then eventually what happens is Carlton can post up. You can also post up Kristen Scott on a smaller Latasha Jones instead of Cassidy DeLapp. And so they're not getting you from the outside, but they had a lot of points in the paint.
They did. I believe they ended up with 50 points in the paint, and you know, we maybe outthought ourselves on it a little bit on that, but they're very talented, and it's a hard group to match up with for our team.
Well, and Coach, honestly, if you don't give up the points of the paint, and obviously there's ways to stop that, and you want to play better defensively. But when you look at what they're capable of doing on the outside, it can happen so much quicker and be out of a game. And yet, because of the way you played, you held them in check from the three-point line.
No, we did, and I thought we matched up and got back in transition and did a good job on that. But they've got the versatility to play both inside and outside, and they can send 2 or 3 different people to the block. And you can't be real aggressive with them because they shoot 84% from the free throw line, and you take their non-starters out, and they're probably shooting close to 90% from the line.
Yeah, they are very good from all aspects on the floor, undoubtedly. Coach, going back to Kristen Scott real quickly, young lady was 11 for 11 against you the first time, hit every one of her three-pointers, 7 attempts outside. This time 5 of 12. And again, you lose the ball game, so it's just a small part of the battle. But the focus was to slow her down a little bit, and that changed. You guys really did do a much better job on her.
We did a better job on her. She got loose a little bit when we went to a bigger lineup again, and I believe she's the most improved player in the Big 12.
Well, she is definitely a handful for anybody. Coach, also in this game, really felt like there was never that huge run where the crowd just gets big into it and it's just overwhelming. But they did leak out a little bit in that fourth quarter, and it wasn't as flashy, and again, from outside like it normally is, but there was about a 3-minute stretch, 4-minute stretch to start the fourth where they started to open it up.
No, they did, and they've done that to a lot of teams in there, and their men's team's an awful lot like that, playing in Hilton as well, so it's a very difficult place to play. You know, we had a lot of bright spots. Vivian played extremely well with 31, and I thought she was very explosive offensively.
Yeah, I had some good highlights for the Cowgirls on the offensive end for sure. Coach, coming up, you got Kansas Saturday at 1 o'clock. Try to get a sweep there. You've got Oklahoma coming up on Monday. Try to get a sweep there as well. And while they're not Texas and Iowa State, it's still two teams that, if you're not ready for, certainly can pull off the upset.
That's the nature of the Big 12. There's a lot of parity, and the teams at the bottom of the league have the ability to play very well. And Kansas has played people very tough. Oklahoma's played a lot of people tough and just hadn't come up with the wins.
Best of luck this week.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate the time. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little wrestling. The Oklahoma State Cowboys still undefeated on the regular season after a huge win against Missouri. John Smith joins us next as we continue with the OSU Roundup. Welcome back to the OSU Roundup, joined now by Coach John Smith, head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboy wrestling team. And Coach, congratulations on another big win, and just keep this thing going the right direction right now.
Well, it was a big win. You know, we had a chance to wrestle, really in a hostile crowd, you know, probably more so than anywhere we wrestled this season. And it was tough matches, tight matches. But in the end, you know, when you have a team that's won 35 straight matches, give them credit, Missouri, you're going to have to go in and do some special things to get on the scoreboard and win. And we did that. We won 6 of the 10 matches. And when you do that, anytime you're away from home, it's going to be in the win column.
Got it started out right at 125. Got a major decision with Nick, and that's always a good way to start any match.
Well, Nick did a good job, and he's done that for us throughout the season. Maybe we were hoping a little bit more than that. You know, maybe a tech fall, which is 5 team points rather than 4. But, you know, people are going out against Nick right now and trying to avoid getting turned and kind of laying on the mat a little bit, stalling. And we need to figure out how he can get to those points. But again, good start. Anytime you start with a major decision, gives you a little bit of momentum going into the dual meet.
Well, you know, you mentioned it. Nick has done that, and Dayton has too. Those two weights, 125, 133, consistently have been very strong for you all year.
Yeah, it's been a 1-2 punch for us. You know, a lot of times we've been leading. You know, anywhere from 6 to 9 to nothing, to sometimes up to 11 or 12 to nothing after those first 2 matches. So. It does make a difference, and in the end, those 2 wins did make a difference.
Obviously, they did. You guys struggled at 141, 149, and 157. Although Wyatt Sheets 6'5", that was a heck of a match there.
Yeah, those 3 weights. Cade Brock at 41. In the match, pretty competitive. Ended up getting cradled and pinned. 49, G. Feller, you know, coming off a little bit of an injury from the week before, and kind of felt it, freshman. You saw it in his eyes, just wasn't there, you know. Young, but he better get tougher, you know. I mean, this little injury he's got is probably going to be felt the rest of the season. It's nothing serious, but if you act like that it's bothering you, you know, you're going to end up being over there on the sideline. White Sheets, pretty tough match. Had a chance to win it at the end and didn't close it out, but I like where he's going right now. His performance has been good.
You guys were down 3 matches to 2, essentially. Again, with a major decision, though, at 125. But you knew that going in. You said it, you and I were talking a little bit ago. This is a very good Missouri team. They're ranked as high as they are for a reason. You knew this wasn't going to be a walkthrough.
Well, you're on your road, you know, and this is a team that's won 35 straight matches. I mean, they know how to win. Mm-hmm. Nobody will duel them, you know, other than us. I mean, none of the big schools don't want any part of them. So that's another reason why they got 35. They beat us here last year at home, you know, that keep their streak going. But and they had the largest crowd they ever had for a wrestling match. They almost doubled it, right? So you go into those situations, you better be ready, and you better win 6 matches, because likely if you won't go 5-5, you're not going to win it. And if we went 5-5 in that match, we would have lost that match. So winning 6 matches is big on the road.
No doubt. Coach, you guys get back on track. Chandler Rogers, rather, at 165. 7-5, good win for him.
Well, we took a break after that 57-pound match. There was a 12-minute break, and we went back and just made some adjustments, talked about a few of them, about what we had to do. We're going to need to win 4 out of the 5. So and let's go and make an attempt at winning all 5 of them. Yeah, Chandler got his back on the board. You know, this is a competitive match that he had in the past with this kid. He's wrestled a couple times. He's 2-0 against him going into this match, and they've both been close matches. But honestly, I thought he wrestled one of his better matches of the year.
And then, of course, again, you do get 4 of the 5 remaining. Joe struggles at 174, but at 184, 197, and 285, all W's for the Cowboys.
Yeah, you were kind to Joe. Yeah, Joe did not wrestle a great match. You know, he didn't do much in the match. He just, you know, we're making some adjustments with some weight issues, and that could have affected him. But a good kid, ranked number 2. But Joe's better than that, period. He needs to focus on having better matches. But 84, I'm going to tell you, Jacoby Smith, his performance in that match, knowing that we needed to win the last 3, his performance in that match carried these other 2 guys forward. You know, you need someone in these big events and big matches, big games, whatever. You need an athlete that steps up and you're like, wow, that's who Oklahoma State wrestling is. You know, so he didn't have a great first period. His second and third were dominating. He kicked the kid's butt and even kicked it even worse in the third period. And just, you know, for the team, it was a lift. Preston Weigel walks out and like you said, wins a solid 4-1. A tough guy. Hadn't been in a lot of big dual meets this year, and we were worried about it. But he went out and he just followed up what Jacoby did, and of course our heavyweight picking up a takedown in overtime to win. So I will say that Jacoby Smith kind of led the way at the end.
19-15, Cowboys get it done, and they are still undefeated on the season. We're going to take a break, come back. We're going to talk about the final regular season match, which is coming up on the 24th. Talk about scheduling philosophy a little bit. We'll do that as we continue right after this. Welcome back for the final time of the OSU Roundup. Coach John Smith with us. And Coach, I want to talk a little bit about scheduling. You guys right now are in search of another undefeated season, which would be your 7th. You've already had 6. The program's had 46 in its history. But we were talking about the fact that sometimes when you have undefeated seasons, it doesn't necessarily carry you in postseason, which is why a guy like you is not afraid to go to Missouri, to Columbia, and wrestle a very tough Missouri team. Losing is not what anybody wants, but sometimes when that happens, it refocuses a program. So you're not afraid to risk wins and losses.
Well, you just look at your team, you know, and you're going, is this a team that should be undefeated? You know, is this a team that's capable of dealing with being undefeated? You know, so, you know, a lot of times, like you said, you know, losing is not always the worst thing. It's a learning lesson. It gives you the ability to maybe rise to a whole nother level, right? I will say this team here has surprised me. I didn't think we'd be where we're at right now. The injuries that we had, the guys that have stepped in and have performed well has made the difference. But in the end, I do like the scheduling of wrestling Missouri, who's a top 5 team, and then our toughest match, likely, Iowa this weekend. It just shows you, okay, here's where we're weak. You know, when we came back from Missouri, I mean, we had a lot of information to work on, you know, that we didn't realize. Sometimes you don't realize until you hit those tougher teams that, hey, we got a problem in this area.
And now, obviously, you do wrap up the regular season with Iowa. And, Coach, that is going to be a special environment. Gallagher-Iba always is. Wrestling means so much in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And you're bringing in 2 of the best programs in the history going at it. That's always a special time.
Well, and it's a dual meet that we all remember. I mean, I remember all 4 of mine, and I could tell you the details of it. I actually lost one. I separated my shoulder in the only match in my history I ever defaulted out of, you know. So these are matches that, you know, that stick in your mind, that you either have bad memories or good memories. 3 of my 4 were good, you know, and I tell my guys, you know, yeah, it's important. Is it going to make a difference for us at nationals? I think absolutely. With this being at the end, these 2 teams that we've competed, it's showing us some areas that we need to get better in. That's what's going to make it help us become better, is identifying the areas where we need to improve. But the Iowa match is an important match, and we're looking forward to it.
Real quickly, you guys had an 8-day layoff from Air Force to Missouri, an 8-day layoff between Missouri and Iowa, and we talked about that's not exactly ideal of how you wanted to do it. So I'm just curious, with extra guys getting healthy, ranking matches, that sort of thing, how do you guys prepare and continue that mode prior to Iowa?
Well, think of this. We knew that we had a top 5 team in Missouri, and now we know we're wrestling one, a historical dual meet. So it doesn't take too much to get motivated, right? So that's the good thing about it. If you're going to take those gaps, which was unplanned, but the good thing is that we got 2 teams that, listen, if you don't get ready for them, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
So for us on Sunday, it's about our Oklahoma kids doing well. We got 8 Oklahoma kids in the lineup. We got 3 kids from Stillwater, and we're going to have to win some matches with Oklahoma kids.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, coming up on February 24th, 2 o'clock inside Gallagher Iba Arena, Iowa, coming to town. Coach, always appreciate the time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hey, we are going to send it out as we've got to say goodbye. We want to say thanks to Coach Boynton. We want to say thanks to Coach Jim Littell and, of course, Coach John Smith. And we certainly appreciate you guys being here. For Dave Hunziker, I'm Casey Kendrick. See you next time on the OSU Roundup.
The OSU Roundup is brought to you by Bud Light, game day's favorite light lager. By the visitstillwaterok.org Shop, Dine, and Stay partners. Be sure to shop, dine, and stay in America's friendliest college town. By Mercy Health, your life is our life's work. And by OG&E, power at the speed of life.